July Celebration Committee meeting. But we will be having a July 4th parade, 1 month exactly. And we will be having fireworks. Peter from the Friends of the Fourth is on with us, and he has worked some magic so that we will have fireworks in Orleans as well.
Great news, Peter.
So my first agenda item was just an update on the status of the 4th of July, which after the Board of Selectmen's meeting on Wednesday, the board did vote to reinstate the parade and the fireworks. Peter, do you want to share with everyone about the fireworks and just where you're at with that?
Yep, and really thanks to you, Jen. I think you were kind of the cheerperson that kind of pushed them over the top on this. So we, right after the meeting, I touched base with the contact person at Atlas, and unfortunately they'd given our, date away because we had to cancel, earlier, but they did suggest a date of July 10th, which is a Saturday, which is at the end of the week, and it also coincides with a Firebirds game. So we committed to it and checked with the town, and they committed. So, we're a go for fireworks on July 10th, and the rain date is Tuesday, the 13th of July, and that also coincides with the Firebirds game. So, and we did, I don't know if we had mentioned before, but in April, we had done an amendment to the contract. We had added 25% to kind of expand, the presentation. So hopefully it'll be, a good one.
I'm sure it will. And as we've been saying as a committee, and I have definitely been saying, we have 4 weeks to plan this, the parade and the fireworks. So I think that whatever happens on the 4th is going to be great and a celebration. And so thank you for your quick work on that. And I think you and I spoke, you let public safety know as well.
I talked to Fire Inspector Baker because Atlas had to reapply, and I guess there's a process with the state fire marshal. So they did that, and I left a voicemail for Lieutenant Rosato, letting him know that both the parade and the fireworks were, were back on.
Perfect. And I let Nauset Disposal know that they're both back on, and I did just let them know the update of the date. So we'll have the usual toilets and trash covered by Nauset Disposal for those dates as well. Great. So that's exciting news that the fireworks are on July 10th. And Cynthia updated the website, it's Orleans4thofjuly.com, the website that our group created. And it just occurred to me that we should let the folks at Town Hall know to update the official town website. I don't know if that's been done or not, but we should just add that to our promotions list. Is there anything else that you need from us, Peter? Or I know your group works pretty efficiently. You've been doing this a number of years, but because we have such a short time span to pull all this together, I just want to make sure if there's anything that you need from us, that you have that.
Yeah, I don't, we're, kind of a one-horse show most of the time. So no, I think we're all set. Again, whatever I can do to kind of help the parade, just let as you go along, I can help wherever you need me. So
can I put you down as a convertible driver, Peter?
No.
No.
No, he's our parade meister.
You can have the convertible and
Yeah,
we
He knows.
have enough,
he knows what I mean. It's
right,
a family.
we have
it's a-
enough valid drivers in the house now that
Yeah, it's a
we'll
valid.
supply a driver.
Thank you.
and the
I can
car.
check that one off my list. So, on the, you mentioned promotions, Jen.
Yep,
You remember the placards you were talking, like real estate signs to put around town?
yes,
We should put on there the July 10 date for the fireworks, perhaps?
yes, I have that.
Okay.
When we get to that, we'll do a motion to approve just to order that, but then, but I started the process just without ordering, so. Perfect. Thank you, Peter, so much. We appreciate it. Very much. Before we, I guess, go around and do updates and responsibilities, do we want to have a discussion about the theme? I just sent it out because I just got them in. As far as choosing a theme, there's a suggestion to not have a theme this year. It's just July 4th. Here Comes the Sun, The Beach is Back, Celebrate Good Times, America's Back, and 2021 and America's Back. So, any other additions before we discuss, or do you want to discuss not having a theme, having a theme? Todd, any thoughts?
None of the ones that you just meant. Is there a written list somewhere? Did I miss it?
I just emailed it. Here, I'm gonna put it in the, can I put?
Oh, that's
some-
fine. I'll take a look, but
Oh, I can't put anything in the chat, sorry.
gotcha. Again, I mean, I think anything along the lines of America's back, Orleans is back. We're all back. Something like that is fine. It's again a fairly minor thing, and if people felt strongly that a theme wasn't needed this year because it's self-evident, we could always go with that. But anything along the lines of we're back, I think is fine with me.
Okay. Sin,
I'm for having America's Back or 2021 America, something like that, just to say we've been gone for a while, but here we are now.
I'm fine with that as well.
okay.
Do we want to be America or Orleans?
My personal feeling is, and I like Orleans, but I think America gives it more of the red, white, and blue issue.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I'd go with that as well.
All right, we have got a theme.
A vote on the theme? A motion from somebody?
I'll move that we do America '(S) is back. Right? No, America's back. No, it's just America is back.
America is back. Motion by Todd, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we have a theme. America is back. Great. I know that Cynthia updated our website already, so maybe Sin, if you could just add the theme to the website, that would be great.
I will do that.
Please, thank you. Ken, would you like to give some updates?
Well, I reserved 2 generators this morning, so hopefully they'll need them because I've got my credit card. But
Well, we will, because I've reserved 6 bands, so.
oh, okay. Well, that's good then. So because we can't get them here, we have to get them from Dennis. But anyway,
Okay,
we'll pick them up, or somebody will pick them up on the Saturday, and we'll use them and take them back on the Sunday. I've already got 3 convertible drivers.
okay,
The town is already looking for a driver for the judge's pickup truck. So little things like that are moving along.
Okay.
Other than that, I don't really know what there is to update you on. I'm glad Cynthia did the flyers, because when I go to talk to people about using their truck or whatever, I like to pass out something like that. So I'll download that today and print some more off. So I've got a lot of things just that I'm sure you've already thought of, Jen, but just to rush out, so that we don't skip over them. One thing I found out is that the church on the route is not going to have their little donut sale and all that this year. They're going to stay with their 10 o'clock church service.
Mhm.
And I can't change that, especially not being a member.
Right.
So, which is a pity, because that's always been very popular with people. They come by the dozen and dozen to buy a bottle of water.
Yeah.
So that's just a minor thing to think about somewhere down the line. Somebody might want a water franchise. We could raise money for Peter's group.
Yeah. So we, as members of the committee, are not able to fundraise, but
Right.
that's why there is Peter's group. So, I mean, if there were volunteers, I do think that would be a great, a great little fundraiser, but I think we're short on volunteers as it is. So I don't know if anyone has a suggestion. That's a great idea, but that would have to go through Peter's group. Or volunteers. It just couldn't go through
Yeah.
any of us committee members.
I did notice that Wellfleet is having their parade,
Mhm.
but I haven't seen anything on Provincetown doing one.
Yeah, I haven't either. I tried to get information on that, but I couldn't.
And I haven't been able to find out about Hyannis/Barnstable.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one either. I think they're normally in the afternoon.
Yeah, usually 4 o'clock or something like that. But
Yeah.
I've looked all over the web that I can find, and nothing showed up. So there was that. What else have I got? Let me look at my list. Bear with me, or go ahead and talk to somebody else.
Sure, and I should just update, Cynthia kindly updated some flyers that she made 2 years ago, and that's what I had sent to Ken, and I'll send it out to the group, just they can be used to pass out, just about getting people engaged with the parade and making them aware of our website.
Yeah, I'll try and get one up at the dump tomorrow.
Okay. Cynthia, do you want to talk about the plane?
Sure. So we had originally last year booked 3 planes from Chatham Airport and then a plane from Mashpee to fly with a banner. And we looked into doing all of that again this year. Chatham Airport let me know that they are basically understaffed, and it would be really challenging for them to pull something together. And then the banner company said that their schedule is currently packed, so they could fly a banner before 10 a.m. or after 6 p.m. But there really wasn't a lot of, I didn't know if that meant 6 in the morning. So Jen and I discussed it and just felt like, since the parade is moving forward, it would have been nice, I think, to have those as additions for this year, but the banner didn't really make sense to make that investment given the timeframes that were our only options. So.
Yeah, I think it was just a quick decision we had to make. And so I think, we can spend our money elsewhere. And, I know one of our concerns is maybe not having as many floats. So trying to do maybe some more entertainment that we can hire, which I guess would be my update. I have been reaching out to the bands. I think I mentioned this on Tuesday over last weekend when I heard that we were back on the agenda. I started to sort of panic and put feelers out. So we do have Mark's Music confirmed, Bruce McLean, which is Link Montana, his band confirmed. The steel drum band just called me back this morning. We've been playing phone tag, but I think that he's gonna confirm. Sue Keller's confirmed, and Nick, uh, the sax quartet is confirmed. So we do have bands, and Todd, I know that you were speaking with your group, and on Tuesday when we spoke, you had mentioned, or you were gonna talk to them about seeing if they would want to ride in the parade. Do you have an update on that?
I do. They don't do that sort of thing.
Okay,
So that's a wash.
okay,
You know, I talked to them at, you know, we may discuss if we think the parade's going to be much smaller than normal and we're trying to need some fillers, if we still wanted a stationary band at the town green or you know, which is kind of at the end of the parade, I guess, right? Maybe to entertain people until the parade gets around there or something like that, that they would still be available. But you know, that's for us to discuss, I think. But otherwise, they're not mobile.
yeah.
That's not a
Okay.
bad idea, though.
My concern with that is that it's across from the church, who's gonna be having a service at 10 a.m. And when I had talked to the church, and Ken, you might have a better read on this than I would, but when I had talked to the church and I had told them what our alternative plans were, I had said, you know, we could try to not put anything in the town green until 11 to be respectful of their church service. And now there's going to be a parade there as well, people lined up. So I don't know that it's respectful to put a band there as well, but I would put it out to the group. I mean, that's just my initial thought.
If the crowd is there, I don't see what difference adding a band across the street, maybe over towards the library, what harm that can cause. I mean, is the church going to cancel their bells at 11 or 11:15?
No, I don't know. I mean, I guess not. I didn't even know they had bells.
I do see Jen's point, though. I mean, it's enough. I think that we're already doing
Yeah,
this
okay.
morning right in front of their place. You know, adding big band music maybe a little rude. So yeah, maybe unless we wanted to do it at some other location, you know, I don't know if something else would make sense. You know, where the farmers market is or something like that. But again, that's not really on the route or anything. So if we, and it probably doesn't make sense to stick them out in the Staples parking lot if it's not part of the alternative program that we had in mind. So maybe it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think maybe, and I know that ideally we would want to know, they would want to know ASAP, but I think ideally we should see maybe how the parade sort of entertainment lines up first, and then if we feel that we need a filler, maybe we could revisit. Just a thought.
Okay, I'll communicate that to the Sound Dunes and fellow, and you know, make sure he knows that if something else is, you know, comes up, you should feel free to do that since this is tentative, but there's still some possibility.
Okay, yeah, I agree. Ken, did you have more on your list you wanted to talk about?
Well, I've got loads. Did you by any chance, Jen, talk to the Fife band in Wellfleet?
No, I'm having trouble getting their contact information.
I'll email something to you.
Okay, that would be great.
Okay. I take it you're looking at things like, let's hope my wife gets that, clowns and the unicycle and, you know, all those other things that I don't look at.
Yeah.
Fire trucks, do we have to order them or do they normally come on their own?
They come on their own.
Okay. A banner at the front. Do we want a banner across the front of the parade?
Yes, we have one.
And we've got somebody to carry it?
Well, We haven't gotten there yet, but
Okay, all right.
Peter generally, if I'm not mistaken, Peter normally has some visiting family that has volunteered for that in the past.
The automobiles, is Todd handling that?
No, we haven't assigned responsibilities, but I know that and you did previously, so I would like to loop everybody together on that today.
Okay, well, I was just going to suggest whoever does that, they need to clear with Nickerson Funeral Home or somebody, the
Oh,
staging area.
Oh, sorry, the antique cars. I thought you were
Right.
talking like
And
trucks.
antique and classic cars.
Yep. We actually, so Cynthia's husband, Ben, has an antique vehicle and has been, he volunteered at the last parade and he volunteered to help with that again this year. But last year, and there's a gentleman who on the previous committee also did, and I just haven't had a chance to reach out yet, but in 2019, because of construction at the funeral home,
Right.
the antique and classics were moved to the dentist office right next to the elementary school. And I would like to ask the dentist office if we can do it there again. I felt like it was my first year working in the parade or volunteering for the parade, but we've ridden in the antiques for several years, and I felt that was a better location. And there was a nice little turnaround in the back that cars could line up easily. And it was closer to one of the staging areas, which then allowed us to start bringing floats up sooner. And so I would like to make that change rather than the funeral home for this year, assuming the dentist office will allow it, which I would assume.
I think the building in the area is owned by the senior dentist there.
Right.
And that's who I heard from last year when I went in there and asked if we could use it. And they were very nice about it.
Yeah. So my suggestion is we call them and ask. I'd like to move it there if no one has any other thoughts on it.
Fine with me.
Peter,
Yeah.
Peter, as parade meister, did you feel staging wise that was fine?
Yeah, that really worked out well because I know some of the, folks in the cars at Nickerson kind of were worried about letting the engines run too long. And so being at the dentist office was great. And it was a lot easier to kind of integrate them in up front. So
Yeah.
that's super.
Okay. Okay, so as I said, Ben Wigren has volunteered to help with that, and I will call the dentist office. What's next, Ken?
I take it you'll send me a list of the bands because I need to figure out how many people and their contact number so I know how big a truck.
Yes,
Okay.
they all were in it last year, so I would be looking at your notes for last year.
Yeah.
Year. But yeah, I'll send you all of that information.
All right. Do we know anything about the Grand Marshal or Citizen of the Year?
No, we need to discuss that today.
Okay. All right. And the judges?
Yep, that's on the list for today.
Okay. Well, if you sent me your list, I wouldn't have to do this.
I'm doing my best right now.
No.
I'm kidding. No, I like going through everybody's list. But Ken, talking about the vehicles that you manage, the trucks and the convertibles.
Mhm.
I remember I texted you the other day that Del Mar would like to participate and offer. I have a friend who's working at Del Mar Vacations, and I had said to her, you're up and coming company and you're getting bigger and you should be in the parade, kind of joking. And she texted back saying they'd like to donate 5 to 7 pickup trucks to the parade with drivers. They are just pickup trucks, so I don't know if they're exactly what Ken needs.
I think the only one a single pickup truck works for is Sue Keller. And
Okay.
she liked being in the trailer with Barroso last year.
Right, but because they're being generous, if there is an air, like,
I understand.
because I think it's just good maybe to begin to get them involved.
Mhm.
But also I already said it, but again, my attitude, 4 weeks, if people can't ride in a convertible and they have to ride in a pickup truck,
Oh, that's great.
that's what, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
a lot of
Also,
grace.
Could the Delmark pickup trucks tow something? Or,
I do believe they could tow, and she mentioned that also if people are looking, yeah, so they could tow. If people are looking for floats, like other businesses or families, they're willing to work
Oh,
with them,
them.
so.
Yeah.
And I said we don't get really involved in that, but if we hear of anyone, we'll certainly send them her way, so. So that does bring me to the Grand Marshal and Citizen of the Year. I don't even know who that is. I'm embarrassed to say. Does
I don't
anyone?
know if it's been selected this year.
Oh,
We'd have to ask Molly or somebody at Town Hall.
yeah. Isn't the Citizen of the Year normally selected before town meeting?
Yeah, but I don't remember hearing anything about it. Do you?
Yeah. No, I
Well,
don't.
it's easy to check.
Yeah, I'll send Molly and ask. A Grand Marshal. So we need to select a Grand Marshal. And normally we mull this over for a while. I have one suggestion. I'm also fine with not making that decision today, but I just want to start everybody thinking about it. I think in 2020 we had selected a Grand Marshal, but we hadn't announced it maybe. But my suggestion is Kevin Higgins. I suggested him at some point. And maybe Cynthia suggested Tony Pike, and maybe we talked about doing it jointly. If this is starting to come back to me, I don't know,
There was
but
disagreement.
oh,
Let's not go into that publicly.
oh, okay. Are you being serious?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I don't recall.
Maybe we can just think about it and
Mhm.
table it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm fine with that, but also on the agenda today, I wanted to set a meeting schedule through July 4th, so whatever you guys think we should meet in terms of frequency is fine, but we can table it for now, but to think, and it'd be great to get the rest of our committee's input on that as well. So the Grand Marshal, you know, rides at the front of the parade. So please be thinking of someone that we could nominate for that, and we'll put it on the next meeting agenda. Next, we need judges. We need an odd number of judges. Cynthia, I know at some point your mother-in-law had interest.
Well, I had interest in her doing it. I'm not
Oh.
sure that's the same. I just sent her a text message and asked if she would, if we need judges, would she have interest and would she recruit a friend of hers? So
Okay.
I will work on. I can work on that.
I also know that one of the gentlemen from who was one of the judges in 2019 had interest in doing it again, and his name is escaping me right now. He's a member of the yacht club, so maybe I'll see him later. But I will look for his name because he sought me out like months later and said he had a blast and would love to do it. So
Mr. and Mrs. Charlton,
yep,
he was a coffee club member.
yes.
They did it, but unfortunately John passed away recently.
Oh, I'm very
So
sorry.
I think that's, you know, obviously that won't work, but we had several from the coffee club that we said no to in 2019.
Okay,
So if we get short, let me know soon and I'll send a blast out to all the members and see if there's any interest for this year.
Okay, so why don't we hear back from Barbara, Cynthia, and I'm gonna find the gentleman's name in my notes and ask him, and then we can make a decision at our next meeting. I'll put it on the next agenda. So going back to the bands, sorry for skipping around a little bit. We need to vote on spending on a budget or spending money on certain things. So we technically need to vote on hiring the bands before they get contracts from Michaela. And I'm curious if, given the time frame, if we'd like to vote on like a budget for entertainment, a budget for promotional materials, or whether we'd like to vote on specific things and how the group would like to handle this. And I'll tell you what the current band expenses are in 1 second. Any thoughts?
Oh, I think to try to do individually is not the way to go this year.
Yeah,
I like your idea of doing it. We say the budget for bands is 4,500, some number like that.
yeah,
And the budget for promotions is 1,500. And the budget for all other items is 2,000 or something,
yeah,
and then we can always vote to change that if we want to, but at least that gives you flexibility to go ahead, or Cynthia, if she's handling, something like the plane or something, to go ahead with the knowledge that it's already okay.
right. So in 2019, we spent a total of 4,500 on bands. To date, with the groups that have confirmed, I'm at 2,650. It is the larger bands that are not able to commit. I also, in 2019, when we were trying to add to the parade, I had brought in stilt walkers and hula hoopers that were dressed up in patriotic attire, and I did go back to them and get a quote. They could do stilt walkers that would be like dressed like Uncle Sam, hula hoopers who just do like acts with hula hoops, I don't know. And then they call them wing walkers, and they're dressed in a patriotic gear, but it's like these giant wings and they do kind of tricks with. So it would be a decent sized presentation, and it would be $1,800. And I don't know if you guys think that's added value, but what? No, I just think adding entertainment where we can would be good. So
I agree. It's on my list. Clowns, unicycle puppets, anything like that. Especially, we don't have the two big bands because they haven't been able to practice, and that's going to be a large hole.
right.
So I think whatever we can do to fill that is fine. We didn't spend the money last year.
Right.
So it's not as though we've been, spending it willy-nilly. So I would certainly do whatever we can along those lines. Todd, you're new to this. What do you think?
No, if it worked in the past, I don't know, $1,800 for stilt walkers and all that seems like a lot of money to me, but I have no
Yeah.
preference. So I might get into the stilt walking business, it sounds like, but in the whole scheme of things, I think it certainly adds to the whole atmosphere and
Yeah.
and to the quality of the parade. So I would be in favor of that.
Or just for reference, we spent on the entertainers, we spent 1,200 in 2019, but I did get a second quote, another company, and they quoted me $4,700. So just for comparisons. So just throwing it out there.
I would go along with it. Under miscellaneous, Are we going to see if we can get candy walkers so we'd have candy expense?
Yeah, I was gonna suggest that as well.
And the water we give out at the beginning and the end,
Yeah, so we,
all those miscellaneous items.
yep. So we give water out to the dignitary, the cars, we put water in the cars, and then we did do water at the awards. In 2019, we had some refreshments. We did purchase candy and we purchased what are they called? Wagons. And we had some candy, different businesses that gave out candy just to add to the festivities. We also took out an ad in the Chronicle, which I have on my list to see about. I reached out to the Chronicle to get the rate, and they didn't get back to me yet. We took out an ad in 2019 thanking the people who participated, sponsored, and volunteered. And I wasn't sure, given the time frame, if you think maybe we want to put an ad about the parade and the fireworks are back, or whether it's unnecessary. I do think people are talking about this. I don't think that, soon, they're already talking about it. And as we begin to promote, I think more people will talk about it. But I had mentioned the lawn signs. I think that's a good idea, just to put over town, and we can get 40 lawn signs for $150. And we'll put the parade and the fireworks. And I did reach out to Town Hall. We have the banner that goes across the street, Main Street. I reached out this morning asking about that because the DPW handles that for us. I think we just have to get the date updated for the fireworks. So once I find out if they can turn that around quickly, which I'm hopeful that they can, that'll be up as well. So I don't know if you think we need to really take out an ad. I think we talked about it briefly on Tuesday, but up for discussion, or up for discussion on maybe spending money on promotion and setting a budget.
Do you remember last year? Oh, sorry, Todd, go ahead.
No, I was saying, you were saying last year the advertisement ran in the Chronicle after the parade. And you're
Yeah,
this year about maybe doing, in the sense of the same thing, thanking people in advance, but doing it ahead of time as part of a promotional thing as opposed to a thank you, or just thank you.
yeah, just a thought, like a promotional thing, just making sure everyone's aware of,
I think that timing works better, frankly.
Yeah. And I don't have the exact quote, but I want to say it was like, because they gave us a decent rate, it was $300 or less. I think it was $250 something. So just a thought. Do you guys want to vote on setting a budget for these things? The only other thing that I think we have to spend money on are the awards. And I will say, we sort of messed up how we presented the awards in 2019 because it was our first year, and it worked out fine, but it's something that I'm still not entirely clear on. And Claudia, who's not able to participate this year, she was sort of leading the trophies and the awards. We do get the trophies from a local company. I found their information, but I wanted to reach back out to Bonnie Roy to get a refresher on the awards. Unless anyone in this group has a clear grasp on it. And I don't know how we messed it up or what happened, but we did. There's a gentleman that was there to present an award, and we had no idea like what he was talking about, and his family does something. And so I felt bad about that. But so I'll reach out to Bonnie so she can give us a refresher.
And Jen, we've got enough time to turn those trophies around.
Yeah. Yeah, they're in Falmouth and they were like less than 3 weeks last year, so in my opinion, I think we need to spend money on entertainment, which I would say if we spend the $1,800 on the entertainment, we're already at 2,600 with bands. We're trying to add 1 or 2 bands more. Right now, we're at $4,400. So I would suggest an entertainment that includes bands and other entertainment the group might find. If anyone finds anything they'd like to add, I would say 7,000. The miscellaneous that Ken mentioned would be candy, refreshments. I don't know what you guys think for that, like 500 maybe, I don't know. Well, we did buy a lot of candy last year. It was probably about 500 in candy.
And then we had the coffee and donuts.
We did. So maybe 1,000 just to keep it so that, we don't have to spend that. but
Right.
Budget
Yeah.
for 1,000. And then the awards, I have the invoice in front of me. They were only 300, but given that we missed one, I would say 500 for awards. And then promotions, my suggestion, again, I don't think we have to spend it, but to keep it would be 1,000. So that's 9,500 total. We have 20,000 in our account.
I make a motion, we establish a budget of $9,500 for this year's parade, subject to emergency changes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, and we can always vote to change, but because we have to vote, we can vote to change, to add, to subtract, whatever. But I think that's a high estimate. I don't think we have to spend all that, but I think that will cover it and will allow each committee member to do what they need within their area. Because Ken, I would include like the generators under miscellaneous. So moving forward. Ken, you had sent me a note with bands and you are gonna send me the Wellfleet Fife and Drum Band.
Yes, Julie something, I just have to find it, that's the
Okay.
problem.
And you mentioned a Dixie band.
Yeah, the one that played used to sit outside Friends twice a year.
Yeah, okay, I haven't been able to find their
Okay.
contact info, but maybe I'll call Friends.
Yeah, they should have the number. And last year I did speak to them and they said they'd like to, but they were already committed to Chatham and it wouldn't fit in time-wise.
Oh, okay.
Very entertaining band.
Yeah, no, I know who you mean. I just haven't been able to find a contact info for them. Okay, so Ken, as far as responsibilities go, and dividing, Heather, who's not on the call, she's gonna sort of head up decor, and her and I are gonna set just like a working meeting sometime next week to come to my house and go through all of the decorations we have. Decorations and signage, because all of these cars get signs as magnetic signs as well. So sometime mid to end of next week, we're gonna do that. And I'll put it out to the group for anyone who wants to join us. You're more than welcome to. So Heather will be responsible for decor and signs. She also is working on volunteers. But she probably could use some assistance with volunteers because we're gonna have to recruit kind of quickly. So I think if someone would like to volunteer to work on volunteers, that would be great. One thing Ken, or I'm sorry, Todd.
Happy to. Yeah.
Okay. One thing we talked about after 2019 is Claudia was managing volunteers from the committee standpoint, but then on the day of the parade, she was on one staging site. And so the people that were showing up to the elementary school for their jobs, they were looking for Claudia and they were upset that Claudia was not there as like a point person. So one thing we just need to make sure is that there's a committee member that's a point person at each staging location, that yes, Claudia and Todd might be, the pre-volunteer coordinator, but I think it's important just to have a committee person be responsible at each location. So I think my suggestion would be at our next meeting to just, I haven't had time to pull out like all of the old documents with like the day of timeline. And that goes with volunteers, so I'll hand that off to you guys, but I just think that we should make sure we do that for this year. Because I think that was missed and some volunteers were upset, and someone who's volunteering to help, we don't want to make them upset with us.
So Jen, last year I was up at the elementary school and I'm happy to be the point person up there again this year. And I
Okay.
think it's just a matter of communication in advance to the volunteers. This is who you, if you're, up in one
Yeah.
section, this is who you're reporting to.
I agree. I think we just didn't communicate it correctly, so.
2 locations. One's
The
the school.
elementary school, middle school, and dentist, hopefully, office. I don't actually think we need anyone at the dentist office because Peter, if he's our parade meister again, he's right next door at like the head of the elementary school. And then, there's the cars sort of manage themselves other than just sort of lining up. And if Ben's there as the volunteer, I don't think we need a committee member there because Ben can communicate with Cynthia and Peter. It's the bigger ones are the elementary school and then the middle school, because that's where all the staging takes place.
Speaking of a volunteer, Ryan said he would volunteer, right?
He did. I haven't
So-
talked to him in a while, but I did plan on maybe.
What I was thinking of, I think last year he led the effort to put in on Eldridge, the do not park here staging area signs and all that along there.
I did that.
Oh, you did that?
Yeah.
You put the signs at the dentist office?
Yeah, I got there super early with all of the sign, not
Oh,
the
okay.
dentist office, but the Eldridge Park sign.
Ryan
Yeah,
took photos
okay.
last year for us.
Yeah, he was with
Yeah. Okay.
Bonnie and doing the lineup. The other thing that is just coming to me now, it was suggested that we should have volunteer t-shirts for the people who are doing the staging. Like at Eldridge, it was really only an issue at not Eldridge Park, at the middle school, that those volunteers wanted t-shirts so people knew. I have to look at my notes and see if maybe we could get some t-shirts.
You may have some. I have some from my days volunteering.
You do?
2 different ones. So I think they had a bunch.
Yeah, I don't think we had any t-shirts. No.
And there was a bit of an issue, as I remember hearing, I wasn't there, I was at the elementary school with the trucks, but of where people were being directed to go. And so if they at least have a t-shirt on, somebody who's asking or is thinking of arguing might say, oh, well, you must really know,
Yeah, no, I agree. Todd, do you think you could try and dig out an old t-shirt just so we could see what they look like? We can get t-shirts quickly.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Okay. Oh,
no, I can do it right now.
okay.
Keep going.
Boy, you have a lot of influence, Jen.
I was like, I didn't mean for you to run. Yeah, we also talked about this is all coming back to me now. I want to change how the lineup goes because the way that we had been taught by the previous folks was to send people to line up and then approach them to check them in and give them a number. And that makes no sense to me. Like, as they're coming in, they should just be checked off and handed a number. So I feel like if that, and then we can have people just pointing them into like, because there's 3 lines. And we can just have people pointing them in at that point to do that, but we should check them in as they're coming in. That was part of the problem with the argument, Ken, is that Ryan and Claudia were like wandering all over and then people couldn't find an official person because they were trying to find the right people and who they checked in and who they hadn't. So I think we can clean that up a little bit. Cynthia, can you help with, like, you had started already with marketing and just helping with promotions and like you had done flyers. I'm trying to think of what else we did. Like, I think that was a postcard, one of the things that you sent me.
We sent a postcard out at Valentine's Day, which was, we did a lot of pre-marketing. We had a whole marketing plan established.
That's right.
So we're a little obviously under the gun right now, but I'm happy to help with any marketing efforts. Happy to help with the t-shirts as well.
Well, we also sent Christmas cards to the truck suppliers.
Yeah, that's right. Because that was part of our plan, was engaging.
And through the year, yeah. So now's not the time for that, I guess.
No, but we'll get back on that plan because I did like that. Just to engage with people. Did you find it?
Oh, yeah. So it's
Orleans Parade Committee.
And there you
yeah,
go.
and then the back just has Orleans.
Perfect.
But it's, you know, colorful. I think the other one I have is like a bright blue. So I think the idea is you make it identifiable and easy to identify, you know, who's in charge. So
Who's in charge? Yeah, I agree with you. I think that would be good. And then, like, in bold letters on the back, it could say volunteer.
Mhm.
Then would you have time to whip something up?
Sure.
Okay. I know that we can get t-shirts on the fly, like there's Kaleidoscope and I think they're a little behind right now, but
It could be Vistaprint or something. I mean, just one of those companies that can
Yeah.
turn things around on the fly. They don't have to be good quality.
right. And I'll go through we'll go through the volunteer list with Todd and Heather and get a count. We can, if you can do some sort of design, then I think we can just order an estimate of sizes and go quickly on it. Okay. And since that would fall under our miscellaneous category, we don't technically have to vote on that. But we can maybe vote on the design next week if we need to.
Cynthia comes up with it. It's fine with me.
Thank you.
I agree. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't need to see it. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I don't think we need to vote. All right, so moving forward. What do you guys think about having meetings? For me, whatever schedule everybody wants to, I mean, this is only a twice in 1 week because we had a feeling things were going to change. I would not say more than once a week, but I'm willing to meet as many times as you think. For me, I think working parties are maybe more important. Like, I'm going to host the decorating one. We can do a volunteer one, but definitely needing to get the group together to make sure we're on track. So suggestion for a meeting schedule from anyone?
As long as it's late in the day.
Yeah, what were we on
Day
Tuesdays?
work?
Is what day? Sorry, Todd.
Friday at 3, does this one work for you? Maybe make sense to do it at the end of the week, so to speak, after all the working groups are done in this.
It works for me.
Yeah, it works for me too.
Okay,
So do we want to meet Friday at 3 for the next?
update.
So Friday, the 11th at 3. Do you want me to put one on the calendar with the town, the 11th, the 18th, and the 25th?
Is 3 o'clock too early though for others?
I don't think so. I don't
No,
think there are work conflicts.
Heather just had a one-time conflict, or was that?
Yeah, she's traveling and doesn't have service, so I think that's fine. All right, I'll put on the calendar with the town. Actually, they had told me that nobody else meets on Friday, so we should be fine with scheduling, but just to get it on the books. And the 11th would be on Zoom again. As of Tuesday, the 15th, we are allowed to meet in person. Do you prefer Zoom or in person?
In person by me.
Sure.
Thank
Okay. Okay. So we will be Zoom on the 11th and then in person on 18 and 25.
Perfect. And then the people can get together on their own if they,
Yeah.
I may have a problem on the 25th. but
Okay. Oh, I
If
do.
not,
it.
I would call in.
Okay. I have 1 hour on the 25th and then I have a 4 o'clock. But we can also evaluate if we feel at that point. Okay, I feel like Ken, I feel like right now the brunt of like the challenge is on what you have to do. And I'm wondering if we can help you or take anything off of.
No,
your-
I think I'm fine for the minute. I mean, I've just had a call while we've been on for somebody who I'm pretty sure is going to volunteer their convertible.
Okay,
I know others are working on things, so it's a matter of me cleaning up and Monday I'm free after about 11, so I'll be roaming around town visiting, Martin Excavation and getting the flatbed for the judges and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I'll work on that. If you could, I would like the band list. So I mean, I've got last year's list, but I don't necessarily have all their contact details.
yep, I will send all of that to you. And if you can send me the Fife Julie, and I'm gonna,
Yeah, I've been looking for that, but I must have it somewhere else. So.
and then the I'm gonna try the Dixie band as well, but if anyone has any other like entertainment suggestions, send them my way, because I think we do want to add. I know there's definitely some local bands that are like some of the lists that you had sent me earlier, Ken, like they're local and I'm sure they'd be willing to play, but I think we were just looking to see if there was any like one larger band that we could get. So
Yeah.
and I also, if you can just update Ken on, if you're having success with the trucks or if we think it's an issue, I just want to make sure we don't hire a ton of bands and then have issue with trucks.
Well, we had some problems towards the end 2 years ago, remember, when a couple of truck companies called up at the last minute
Yeah,
and just said, oh, we can't do it, So that caused some of the scrambling and running around to get a trailer out of Hyannis and stuff like that.
right.
But, it all gets done in the end.
And then can you remind me, Mid-Cape, did you get Mid-Cape last time? Or did they do their own?
No, they generally provide one. And we ended up having to take one that was twice as big as we needed.
Right, but then they
But-
sent a bunch of staff, right?
No,
They were
land,
camping walkers.
pardon?
They were I thought Mid-Cape.
Oh,
was-
yes, they did have a bunch of people out doing that. Yeah. Wasn't it some kind of anniversary for them?
the Ho was an anniversary, which
Oh,
Cynthia,
okay,
I think
yeah.
the Ho reached out to Cint.
yeah. Well, I mean, anyway, I've got to talk to a girl at Mid Cape on Monday. So we'll see where we go.
What about all the chairs that we took from the yacht club?
Yeah,
So-
the big issue, as Jen pointed out, has sort of gone away in that we don't have the Brewster band. So that's 35 of the chairs we won't need.
35 out of 40, so.
Oh, no, we had a lot more than 40.
We had a lot.
The
Oh,
judge,
we had a pickup truck jammed over the top. We had 2 SUVs full of them.
yeah,
I mean, there's 10 required for the judges.
yeah,
And some of the bands say, no, we're not bringing them. We've got enough to carry. So, you know, I'll just add up those that we need. And, you know, we'll make, because do you remember we went over to the yacht club, didn't we, sit there? Pick
Yeah,
them up, and we took about every chair they had.
so.
should we
Uh,
reach out to the yacht club, just confirming that we can?
Yeah, that's on my list.
okay,
Maybe Todd could help me out there when we get a bit further down the road.
okay. All right, so what else do we need? I feel like we have little subcommittee projects, and then.
Jen, are you
What-
able to do a shared spreadsheet with all the tasks and who is doing what? Because I
Yeah,
agree, it feels a little heavy for you and Ken right now, and without everybody on the call, it'd be nice just to have everyone view that and see where they can jump in.
yeah, so I am working on cleaning that up. We had it from last year. We have a shared drive, a Google Drive. I'm gonna add everyone to that. I just want like 24 hours to finish cleaning it up first, because it's kind of a mess.
Can I pass off something that I was doing 2 years ago?
Yeah,
Somebody contact the autism home, because they were very interested 2 years ago, or last year, in participating.
the,
What is it called? I can't think of the name.
oh,
The new
Behind
group-
Mid Cape.
the village, Orleans Village.
Not, no, that you're thinking
What
of.
about capabilities?
No, it's not. They built this whole section of homes in there, like duplexes, and they're mostly for people with autism.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll figure it out, and somebody can do that.
I'll get you the name when I go into town tomorrow. I'll drive by there and I'll send a note. Maybe you can get somebody to follow up with them.
So Jen, the other thing, are you, what's the plan for getting the word out to everybody that's participated in the past?
Oh, right. It's already set up in MailChimp. And I think, so that's, I was gonna ask with your flyer, can you add, so we can send an email blast and we can do it, you know, tonight. Can you maybe add the theme to the flyer? People have already been applying, or not applying, but registering from the selectmen's meeting on Friday, Wednesday.
Okay, and you're getting all of that information, because I'm getting these error messages from Squarespace.
I know, I don't understand why. They go to the info at Orleans 4th of July, which I've been checking.
Okay, yeah, I can add the theme to, I'll add it to the website and to the flyer and resend that.
Okay, cool. And then, yeah, we can just do a MailChimp. I have to find the MailChimp password somewhere, but it's probably just 4th of July. But it's already all loaded, because even after the parade, we sent out like a thank you. And then we sent last year, like the alternative plans. So it'll just be a quick and easy. with that.
Are the Firebirds in for sure?
I don't know. I don't know yet. I haven't reached out. They'll get the same
Okay.
email that everybody. They get their own truck, right? Yeah,
Yes.
yep. And they, just a note, I'm saying it out loud so that I can remember, and I'm writing it down. They held us up last year because they just were milling about eating donuts. So they need to go either at the end or have their, you know what, together.
I'd put them at the end and not worry about it.
Yeah,
Not
It just- it
stress
tells
on anyone.
If I remember from previous years when I was staging, you know, they all looked like they were just rolling out of bed. So.
They're
Yeah.
younger. It's not
Yeah.
a surprise. Yeah, bring them up in the rear.
Which, I mean, totally fine, but it held things up. I think we were trying to coordinate because they were a Martin truck and we were trying to put all the Martin stuff together. Maybe that's what the problem was, but. Because he
Is
had,
that a Martin truck?
I thought it was a Martin truck, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think they had Big Bird.
Whatever.
Okay, so yeah, so I'm gonna share the spreadsheet. I just need to like take half an hour to look at it because I want to go through my binder from Bonnie again. Which just and compare just to make sure everything is on there, and that just takes me a little bit, and I just haven't had time this week to do that. And then I'll share that with everyone. And then obviously on that, and I just haven't even really had time to review it, but there'll be some holes that people will need to like sign up for. But I think Ken has a heavy load a little bit. And, you know, and then once Heather gets back, Todd, you and Heather can dig right into the volunteers, because I think that's going to be an area that we need to really tackle next week and try to figure out. So like I said, I'll get it to you tomorrow because I'll have some time. And then Cynthia, I think if you can just help me with like the marketing and promotion and getting the word out, that would be great. And it's definitely a lot, but I somehow think we're kind of in okay shape because everyone's willing to help because they want this. So we'll be in okay shape.
I think people are super excited, at least the response I've seen, the posts that you put up on social media, how many shares that's received. People are
Huge.
yeah, very excited.
And oh, sorry.
And I've received thanks about the committee just being willing to move forward with this so quickly. So
I need to get into this internet stuff.
Just on that note, which I meant to bring up, and we do have a Facebook page that we created again 2 years ago when our committee started. So it's Orleans 4th of July. So for everyone on the committee or anyone that might be watching this, make sure you're on the Facebook page and following it so that we can then share it with our connections if people are on Facebook. I started getting messages yesterday after the thing on Wednesday, the select board meeting on Wednesday. And so I very quickly just made a post like more details coming, and it's had like 50 plus shares. So, you know, people are excited, to Cynthia's point. And the other thing that I was thinking of this morning that I forgot until now, the road is still a concern and the sewer project. I drove the route a little bit last week because I was thinking about this because all of this was just making me spiral a little bit last weekend. It's really just the area, I think, that at least as of today, near the bowling alley that isn't great. And then like down that hill. And at the select board meeting, I forget which, I think it was Mr. Galligan, said that he was going to talk to the vendor who's working on that, and they've been really responsive. So I will follow up with him to make sure that that happens, because we just want to make sure that this is safe for everybody who's walking in it as well. But it was great, you know, everybody seemed really supportive on the meeting, and so I think it's going to be fun. And I told them, Ken, I told them to be ready on the 4th to ride in the parade, that you'd have a car.
We told them that last year, and of course, one or two do their own thing.
I was gonna say that there wasn't a really positive, I don't know if there was even a response to that.
No, there wasn't. I was like, it was 10 o'clock at night at that point. So, all right, if there's nothing else for right now, I think we have like our committee assignments. There'll be small groups, not official meetings, nothing voting or discussions, but just working meetings, working groups. So if there's nothing else.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, 4:13, and we will adjourn. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.